Last thing you want to do is put the fox in charge of the hen house, but sadly it appears that might be happening out in Loudoun County, where the school board just voted to allow for collective bargaining amongst the teachers and other school personnel with the National Teachers Union. But here's the thing. This is where the fox gets into the hen house there. The door was opened by some of the hens because 4 of the members of the school board who voted in favor of this also received campaign funding from the very same union that they just permitted to organize in Loudoun County. And beyond just that, who thinks this is actually going to make things run better, more efficiently, and benefit the children in Loudoun County? Joining us right now is one of the school board members who voted against this resolution, Deana Griffiths. She was joined, by the way, by Lauren Chernoff, Carrie LaBelle. Those are the 3 that voted against it. But you were outvoted, sadly, Deana. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Larry. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to talk to you and Mercedes.
I hate to accuse people tangentially here, as I just did, of some pretty shady dealing and even corrupt behavior, but that's a direct conflict of interest. They were voting specifically to benefit an organization that funded their campaigns. Aren't there rules against that, ethical rules against that?
That is true. Policy 2160 goes over contracts. While this isn't a contract, this is a resolution. It's still an agreement, and you shouldn't be. It is a clear conflict of interest. You shouldn't be taking money from organizations that you're going to support. If I may, Larry, I just wanted to mention, and I wanted to clear up that I had posted on my Facebook last week that I was not going to vote for this collective bargaining, and within minutes, the LEA went to my Facebook and sent messages to Facebook that I was spreading misinformation because I mentioned the word strike. Strike is actually pressure on the employer. It doesn't mean you're standing outside with picket signs, but it's pressure on the employer.
Right.
So they went to Facebook, accused me of misinformation, and then accused me of blocking comments when actually Facebook blocked the comments but kept the post. So I wanted to clear that up for everybody because I didn't know what happened, and I thought I was hacked. I didn't know what happened, and I figured it out later. So I just wanted to clear that up for everybody.
Well, thank you for that. But that's typical tactics, isn't it, that we see all the time?
It's a typical tactic. And also, if I could mention that I have a fellow board member that is in solidarity with unions and other organizations. She wears their colors, and she wears buttons to let everybody know she's in solidarity. So I feel like that's an utter conflict of interest from the dais as well.
It sure
so
is.
I wanted to mention that as well. I hope you don't mind.
Of course. No.
So is there so what are the options? Is there a demand these school board members to give back their financial, the contributions they received from LEA? I mean, or is it what can be done? What is there any enforceable measures to say, look, you failed to follow or adhere to policy 2160, and obviously their vote's been compromised.
That is something we're going to have to look into because it's a clear conflict of interest. It could affect them when they run again. It could affect them. It'll dog them for a while. So they're going to have to decide what they want to do: give the money back, or we have to figure out. I had brought this to the chair. I said I asked that you consider asking them to abstain from the vote, and I was ignored. So it's a matter of researching and figuring out what the next steps could be for my colleagues.
Yeah.
So where does this go now? They've approved for collective bargaining, and that means now the teachers will have their own vote with regard to who will represent them? Or can the teachers actually say, you know what, we don't want this representation. Things are fine.
They could.
Okay.
They could. It's a matter of, I don't know what this outcome is going to bring. I think the point of me being on today is just to point out how, I feel about unions, and you could just look across the nation and see what they're doing. If there's ever a pandemic again, they will close schools.
That's right.
You are not going to have,
in
Virginia, you're not going to have necessarily people picketing outside with signs. You could have sick outs. You could have all kinds of chaos with unions. And, I know they're probably not happy with my thoughts on this, but when you've grown up watching teachers picket outside your elementary school, or you worked for a union for 8 years, you either love it or you hate it. And I did not like it. So, it is up to the teachers, I think, at this point. And I think bringing this collective bargaining on is going to bring complete chaos.
Yeah.
Complete chaos.
Could I ask one last question? We've literally got
Sure.
a minute left here, but usually when
Sure.
you all have to weigh in on a matter and vote on things, oftentimes this goes through like a cost budget analysis. Like, okay, if we vote for this, this is how much it's going to cost. Was that done here? Because the amount of lawyers and the amount of negotiators you need to hire as a system to be able to negotiate with the union, there's already too much administrative glut in LCPS. You're now adding all of these layers to have to deal with what goes with the union. Have you been able to determine a dollar figure that this is going to add to your budget?
Yeah, great idea.
Well, to start, $3.3 million was set aside for this potential.
So
collective bargaining.
To be clear, that is $3 million that will not go to the
Yes.
children, won't go to books, won't go to facilities,
No.
classrooms, school supplies.
It will not. It will not. It's set aside specifically for collective bargaining, and the costs are only going to go up past that.
Right.
And I'm real big on everything should go to the children. I mean, we care about our teachers. They get their annual raises. We do care about the teachers. And to go it should have been a wait-and-see approach.
Right.
Let me just put it to you that way. We should have looked at the other counties. We should have looked at Prince William. We should have looked at Fairfax first before we made a decision. We should have waited a couple of years to see how that went. So it should have been a wait-and-see approach first before we did anything, because we were the last ones.
Thank you. We really appreciate you joining us this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you.